The Golden State Warriors have a commanding 3-0 lead over the Denver Nuggets, and the entire world is catching up to the party. That is the pool party. That is the splash party. That is your Golden State Warriors now being the favorites to win the World Championship. There's still a long way to go, folks. 3 down, 13 to go for that coveted Larry O'Brien trophy. And I have with me the voice of the Golden State Warriors, Mr. Elevation Sensation himself. He is a legend in the broadcasting world. Tim Roye will be joining me next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can follow the voice of the Golden State Warriors, Tim Roye, on Twitter at WarriorsVox. That is Warriors VOX. Tim, you are in Denver, sir, as you always are, traveling with the team. Please give us your first impressions of Game 3 and where the Warriors are now.
Yeah, I thought Game 3, Denver really played well. And, the Warriors took the game away right at the end. I just think that right now, with the way the rosters are constructed, the Warriors just have too many weapons. Too many places they can go to get a bucket. That Denver, and Denver's missing a couple of key pieces. We all know how important injuries are. And the Warriors, good for them. They're getting, healthy at the right time. But I thought their defense is really good. Jokic, you came away from that game thinking, they defended him well, and he's got 37 and 18, rebounds. I mean, it's like, but they made him work. They made him work hard the whole game. And to me, it's always been about the assist number. In Game 1, as it went into the fourth quarter, I think he had 3 assists. For last night, he only had 5. So when you keep him to that kind of assist number, then you're giving yourself a chance to really win the game, because the other guy are getting all those easy buckets. And that's what they're doing right now. They're making Jokic work hard for his points, and they're not giving him his passing angles. And really, they're just defending very, very well. And, one of the ways you can look at it is that Denver was number 1 in the league in effective field goal percentage over the course of the year. In the playoffs, they're number 9 of 16 in effective field goal percentage. So that shows you that the Warriors are defending them really well, and I think that's a big reason. And of course, let's face it, everybody wants to talk about Jordan Poole and the series that he is having, and just certain guys, as Draymond Green said last night, certain guys are built for the postseason, and Jordan Poole is built for the postseason. He's fit in perfectly. The Warriors a new sort of death lineup now. And it's just it's fun to watch him, and really happy for a kid that on draft night certain people said was the worst pick of the draft. And I remember reading all these things. People saying, he was awful, and they could have waited till the end of the draft and signed him as a free agent and all this stuff. And now all those pundits are having to eat those. It just shows you what. The one thing you can't see every day is inside a guy. You can't see his heart. And Jordan Poole has heart.
What do you think the Warriors saw? It was excuse me. It was a little surprising that they picked him. Granted, it's the 28th pick, but he wasn't projected to go in the first round. It was only his second year out of Michigan. A lot of people thought maybe he needed one more year of college. What do you think the Warriors saw that no one else did? Because every year that passes, that genius label just applies more and more so to Bob Myers and Steve Kerr. And for the 28th pick, I mean, it's so much easier to strike out than strike gold. And they struck gold. I love your insights. I just love hearing you, period. I mean, your voice is majestic, sir. But what did the Warriors see in Jordan Poole? Do you remember a few years back?
Well, I think talking to our scouts and to Bob Myers and other people, right after the draft, they saw potential. They saw a guy that could make plays. He could handle, he passed a little bit. I remember his rookie year, I thought his best plays of his rookie year were his passes. He could pass off the dribble. He could do some, he had a feel for that. And so to me, I think what they saw was a guy who could make plays, and they felt that his shooting was something that could get better and would get better, which is true. They've done that. And I think the other was, and you did, talk to those that mocked to John Beilein, who was his head coach. John Beilein went and challenged him on a variety of different levels, and each time bonded. Okay, so I think they saw that and said, okay, he's coachable. He's able to take some criticism and respond to that. So I think when you put all that in there, they thought, okay, he's young, he's a little skinny, but he's really quick. He can handle the ball, he can make a pass, and he can create his own shot. And so they said the rest of it will come later. And he would. And I think the other part is that I remember talking in his rookie year to Chris DeMarco, who's the assistant coach that was assigned to Poole, and I said, what do you see? He says, I see a kid that's going to work. He's going to work all the time for this. And so that gave me a lot of hope when you hear a coach saying, hey, he's putting in the work, he's putting in the time. And so and we saw that, even as last year, he still was kind of feeling his way around the NBA, and he goes to the G League, and it was exactly what he needed. He needed minutes to get his confidence. Once he got his confidence, the rest has been just tremendous for him.
Oh, I mean, you bring up I love you bringing up that rookie year, because the kid was trigger happy, and there were moments where you'd see flashes. He'd make these super long, like 30-footers, but it was the passing that a lot of people were pointing out. That was the underrated aspect of his game, and you're seeing that more and more. The Warriors have, with Jordan Poole playing the way he is, they basically have, and I mean no insult to Stephen Curry saying this. I mean nothing in terms of stating that Jordan Poole is at Stephen Curry's level when stating this, but it's almost like the Warriors now have 48 minutes of Stephen Curry on the court, given their styles are similar, given that opposing coaches just can't take a breath of relief when Stephen Curry is off the court, so you can focus less on double teaming him. And now all of a sudden, no matter what, there is a Stephen Curry type in terms of an offensive threat out there. And it's fascinating to watch. In your opinion, have you ever seen a player have this level of a meteoric rise so fast with such an incredible ceiling that we've still yet to see? Is there anyone comparable?
Boy, I'd have to go back and research that and think about it. I'm sure there has been at some point in the history of the NBA that there's been maybe a couple of guys that have been able to, take it and come so far within 3 years. And I'm sure there are guys out there that we're missing here at the moment. But what I see now with Jordan Poole is that his abilities can take the Warriors from being really good to elite. And I think your point is well taken, because now, what were teams doing earlier in the year to try to slow down the Warriors? They were face guarding Steph Curry, almost going on almost like a box and one look. And so, now you add Klay Thompson in January, and now you've got Poole playing at this level, and there's no way teams can guard the Warriors that way, because now you can't face guard Curry if you've got Thompson and Poole working on the other side. You're going to have to be in help position. And so I think it really takes the Warriors to a different level right now. And on the offensive end, it makes them tough to guard. And your point is well taken, that when Steph goes off the floor, I don't think there's going to be the drop that we saw in recent years. When he would go off the floor, the Warriors would struggle to score. Now I don't think that's going to be a problem.
It's truly remarkable. And if you love the Warriors, if you're a member of the Warriors, it is such an enviable position to be in. And by the way, I've been asking the Jordan Poole quick rise in terms of his stature and career and performance to quite a few people, and no one's given me an answer yet, just because this might be that much of an anomaly in terms of a player rising this fast, this high, and who knows where it's going to stop. That's the really crazy part. Tim, stay with me for just a minute while I mention a few amazing sponsors of this program. The first being Truebill. a fantastic way to save money, folks. Look, I don't know how many of you are like me where you subscribe to things and you forget about it. Amazon sets you up for these recurring monthly subscriptions that you might just do inadvertently. I know I had like 2 Netflix subscriptions. My credit card's getting dinged for things I forget all about. Truebill is there to solve that problem. Do you know why free trials renew without your consent? It's a business scam that is out to get you. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download Truebill to take control of your subscriptions. I personally did the math from the app, and I'm saving now over $1,000 a year just from Truebill. It's a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forget about. And on average, I told you I saved over $1,000 over a year. And on average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. And because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions just in one tap. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/lockedonnba. Go right now. Truebill.com/lockedonnba. It could save you thousands a year like it did for me. And today's also brought to you by Built Bar. Who knows? Maybe Jordan Poole started eating those Built Bars, and that's the reason for his meteoric rise. But regardless, if you're looking for a healthy protein bar, Built Bar is for you. It's low sugar. Your average candy bar has 30 grams of sugar in it, whereas your typical Built Bar has just 4. Your average candy bar has 240 calories. Built Bars on average have 130. But yet the reason why I still feel full every time I eat a Built Bar is because it has 17 grams of protein packed in these yummy protein bars that are covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, 100% real chocolate. Go to built.com right now. Use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast, nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. And so is Tim Roye with every broadcast. He is free and available. And I honestly love listening to you, sir. You can follow Tim Roye on Twitter at WarriorsVox. Tim, on a side note, I don't know if you can answer this for me, but how can people listen to you while they watch the games? I know some people have said they do that. The transistor radio used to be the answer, but those have suddenly become more obsolete. What is the easiest way for me to listen to you while I watch a game?
Well, you can listen over the air, or you can listen, I believe you can listen on your Alexa and your apps. And probably the app, if you're watching, is probably the easiest way to do it. And then you just sync up the TV. You have to pause the TV for a second, and then the radio kind of catches up to the TV.
There you go. And I'm guessing the app will be 95.7 The Games app. Is that correct?
I think it's an Odyssey app, but there's also the Warriors app as well within
there you go.
75 miles of the Bay Area.
I love it. And everyone I talk to who does that, and there's a lot of people that find a way to listen to you while they watch the broadcast. They all have these. I don't own a transistor radio anymore. I'm so stuck. So download the app, and that's how you can listen to Tim during these games. You travel with the team. You have to cover this theme extensively to be the insider that you are, because every time I listen to you, you sound so intelligent. You know this team as well as anybody. Tell us behind the scenes, the cohesiveness of Jordan Poole with the older members. I mean, Wiggins is still fairly new. What is this team like behind the scenes? Because on paper, when you're watching this on TV or however you're watching it, you see chemistry there. It looks like these individuals genuinely like each other. From your perception, what is the scene like behind it?
I think that Jordan, he fits in because there's a respect factor there. We talked about the work ethic. I think any young player that puts in the time, puts in the work, is going to have the respect of the elder players on the team. And I think Jordan has earned that respect. Mm-hmm. And I think, the other part is that Draymond Green has kind of taken him a little bit under his wing. They're both highly competitive. They're both guys that have no problems with self-expression, and so I think Draymond sees a little bit of him in Jordan, and I think they kind of balance each other off a little bit, and Draymond's trying to get him to see the whole big picture, and I think Jordan has responded to that. So I think, but to me, what older players want to do, and they want to pass along their knowledge. The NBA has always been great at giving back, paying it forward, and doing all that. They want to pass along their knowledge and their experience, but they want those players to earn that. And you do that by getting in the gym, by being respectful, by asking questions. Jordan Poole has done all that. And so he has the respect of those veterans in the locker room because they know that Jordan is not going to fail because of a lack of interest or a lack of work.
It's absolutely remarkable. His work ethic is second to none. We've seen all these reports where him and Steph and to a greater extent Klay and maybe Dre are always the first individuals in the building for practice, the last one's out. It's so hard to teach work ethic. It's just an incredible attribute that he has. Looking big picture here, I know the series is not over yet. And I was looking through recent history of the Warriors being up 3-0. I think the one time they did not complete the sweep was against the Spurs in 2017 or 18. The Spurs won game 4 and they had to push it to a game 5. But let's say for the sake of argument, they win this series. I mean, it's no team's ever failed to complete a series win after being up 3-0. I believe that it's a 142-0 record all time. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. What do you see with the Grizzlies? I mean, I hate to jump ahead, but this is, while I have you, I can't get you that often, and I love your insights. The Grizzlies are probably going to be that second round opponent. I'm feeling very strongly about this. And if you don't agree with me, then please say so. I love your opinion on that. But how do you envision a Warriors Grizzlies second round matchup? What are you looking for? Do you think the Warriors are going to have a difficult time? Will it be relatively easy? What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the point since we have 2 days till the next game. We don't play till Sunday. That I haven't looked up the 3-0 stats. I think I recall in the finals one year that the Warriors were up 3-0 on Cleveland, and then Cleveland had a game 4 where they just shot the lights out. And
Correct.
In Cleveland.
Correct. Yeah.
And that would have been 2017 because it sent the series back to Oakland, and that's where the Warriors were able to win that redemption title, if you will.
Correct. Yes, good knowledge, sir.
So there's that. But just let's go on the sake of argument. I'll give you 2 things here. One, if they go on to beat the Denver, which it looks like they will, and they play Memphis. And again, let's go back to what we were talking about before with Jordan Poole. Now you've got Poole and Klay Thompson and Draymond all healthy, all working alongside Stephen Curry. This is a Warriors team that the Grizzlies really haven't faced. They haven't faced this Warrior team. They've seen versions of it with some players out, some players not there. Klay wasn't there early. Draymond was hurt late. So they've seen the Warriors personnel, but not all together and not playing like this. So I'm really curious to see how they would go about it. Early in the season, Dillon Brooks would face guard Steph Curry. He wasn't going to let Steph catch a pass. I don't think he can do that anymore. Like I said, if Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson are on the floor, and they're on the other side of the floor, he can't not help if Poole beats his man off the dribble. So, but that said, they're long, they're tough. They're one of the best at scoring in the paint. The Warriors are not a very big team. They're one of the best rebounding teams, and they've got John Morant, who, if he makes a couple of perimeter shots, and going with his ability to create contact on his drives to the hole, he could take over a game. So it's a really tough matchup, and historically been a really tough matchup for them for the last couple of years. Maybe even more so than the grit and grind Grizzlies of 2013 and 14 and 15. Maybe this is an even tougher matchup. Now, the other part about this, I think we'll find out in Game 4. If Minnesota is ready to take a step forward. Now, they're a tough matchup for Memphis. Everybody I spoke with the Grizzlies says their worst matchup was Minnesota. And so Minnesota did jump out to 2 20-point leads. Now, they gave them up, but they're good enough to give Memphis some problems. And if Minnesota were to move on, then I think that matchup for the Warriors, if the Warriors win, would be also tough because you got Anthony Edwards, who who was just a star on the ascension. And Karl-Anthony Towns, again, another talent center the Warriors would have to deal with. And, they've got a lot of long players who are guys that are really pains in the butt, guys like Vanderbilt, people. So that would be an interesting matchup as well.
Very interesting. And I know you got to run here, and I'll finish up with this question. The last 2 games of this series, the Warriors have been killed when it comes to rebounding. And especially with offensive rebounding, which is a stat I always particularly focus on because it represents second chance points for the opposition, which is a momentum killer. It just really just can be debilitating mentally for a team to just see the other side constantly getting second, third chances. Those offensive rebounds to me are very vitally important, but the Warriors are able to overcome that largely because of their speed, because of their shooting. In your opinion, and it took me until near the end of the season for me to kind of start seeing the brilliance of Bob Myers and Steve Kerr in constructing this smaller lineup, because players like Jokic, a player maybe like Jaren Jackson Jr., can't keep up when your starting center is Draymond Green, who's facilitating the offense. In your opinion, are the Warriors going to be okay for this postseason given the size of their front court, or do you think this will be an issue at some point?
I think at some point it might be an issue depending on who they're playing and who's on the other side of the floor. I think that I think the weapons they have with their small lineup can kind of negate that because, with Draymond playing up top and you get, these big guys in high screen and roll, very hard for them to, jump back and, defend that. So,
right.
I think that negates it partially. But I do think there are certain teams, and Memphis might be one of them, that's going to say, okay, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to play the way we want to play and pound them inside. And so I do think it will be an issue. However, we've seen that when called upon, Andrew Wiggins can rebound. When asked to rebound more, he's been able to do that. Steph Curry is one of the best rebounding guards in the league. Well, he comes back and gets those long rebounds and does some things. So I think there are ways for the Warriors to rebound as a squad and still get out and do what they want to do. But I do believe it's going to be an issue at some point. This league's too good. The coaches are too good. The players are too good, to not have that, let the Warriors breeze by without paying a little bit of a price.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if we're going to see Kuminga in the rotation at some point. Clearly not this series. The radio broadcasting world, when it comes to the NBA, there's 30 teams, one play-by-play broadcaster for each team. I'm sure it's a fraternal environment with you folks. David Locke, you're equal with the Utah Jazz, created this network. I don't know how much you two are friends, but you're always welcome here. And to me, radio requires a special level of talent because you're having to paint a visual picture in people's minds of what's going on in that court. And it requires talent. You can't fake that. So bravo. And you're always welcome here, Tim. I love you as a person, and thank you for taking some time out. And anything you want to promote or mention before I let you go? I know people can follow you on Twitter at Warriors Vox.
Warriors Vox. And for those of your listeners and viewers who are in the Bay Area, the Warriors just released their schedule of Warriors basketball academy camps. Jeff Adiego runs them. They're outstanding, and they get great attention. And there are so many camps this summer that there's got to be one near you. And if you have a youngster who wants to be a hooper and get them out of the house and have some fun a little bit over the summer, these are really great camps. They do a great job. There's even a sleepover camp as well, where some of the Warrior players will be there to hang out with. So check that out at warriors.com, and could be a lot of fun for your kid.
Oh, absolutely. And there's never a shortage of pursuit when it comes to family-friendly activities that makes the kids happy. So that's awesome. Warriors.com. You can follow Tim on Twitter at WarriorsVox. Thank you so much for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedule to join me for a few minutes here today. And let's go Warriors and keep it going, sir. You are a legend. Thanks, Tim. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Cyrus.
All right. Take care, my man. That is Tim Roye. Again, he's a legend. I don't know what else to really say about Tim. He's one of the one of the all-time greats when it comes to broadcasting. He's one of the all-time greats when it comes to just being a human being. He's just always friendly, and I've been in this game for over 20 years, and there's some people that you just don't really want to hang out with. I'll put it that way. And Tim does not fit into that bill. Always a pleasant sight. I'm gonna wrap it up here with playing some sound in just a moment. First, got to show some love for Shady Rays, a relatively new sponsor of Locked On Warriors. But look, when it comes to sunglasses, you're either in that group where you're spending a lot of money for the high-end fancy stuff, or you're spending $5-10 for the gas station shades because they break easily, they get lost easily. Shady Rays is the solution to that, to both, in fact. They look amazing, they're stylish. They got the polarized access, so if you need those for your eyes, they cover that. So they look good. They're not as expensive as high-end shades, and they offer you insurance if you lose them. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that gives you the feature of $200 sunglasses for just a fraction of the price. That means polarized lenses, well-constructed durable frames, and premium high-end finishes. Also, something you won't find anywhere else is Shady Rays' insane protection program. Shady Rays includes lost and broken protection on every pair. They will send you a brand new pair if you lose them, no matter what happens. So this summer, if you're on a lake, if you're in the ocean, you forget to take off the shades, they fall in the water, they sink, and they're gone. They will cover you. Give them a try. And if you don't love them, you pay nothing. It's as simple as that. Plus, for those of you that believe in altruism, 10 meals are donated to fight hunger in America when you shop with Shady Rays. Exclusively for our listeners, head to shadyrays.com and use the code LOCKED ON to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's right, the code is LOCKED ON for their best deal of the season. 50% off 2 or more pairs of Shady Rays sunglasses, backed by over 150,000 5-star reviews.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. I'm going to play a couple sound bites for you here to wrap today's show. And again, the Warriors are up 3-0 in their best of 7 series. And as Tim mentioned, in recent history, there have been 2 instances where the Warriors did not close the series out, and 4 went up 3-0. One of those being the San Antonio Spurs. I believe it was in the 2017 playoffs, the opening round, where it's a Greg Popovich coach team, and they don't bow down easy. So the Warriors close that out in 5. And then what Tim mentioned, I completely spaced on that, the NBA Finals. The Warriors were up 3-0 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers just shot the lights out in Game 4 to prevent the sweep, although the Warriors did get the sweep the next year in the 2018 NBA Finals. One interesting stat, and this is really remarkable in my opinion, and it refers to the plus minus. It's a stat that I don't put a lot of weight on in terms of individual accolades, just because someone can have a great game, but if their teammates are stinking it up, the teammates will affect the plus minus. But I do respect the plus minus numbers when it's over a considerable period of time and when nearly the entire team is all thriving. So the plus minus in terms of the accumulation through the first 3 games of this series, Stephen Curry is plus 52. And we're talking limited minutes from him. Draymond Green is second on the team with a plus 45. It really should not surprise anyone that Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are 1-2 in terms of point differential. Otto Porter Jr. comes in third at plus 41. Andrew Wiggins, very underrated this series. And in all honesty, folks, that is where you want Andrew Wiggins. Under the radar, not being considerably noticed. He has a space, and he's thriving in it. He's a plus 36 in this series. Gary Payton II, who I really hope this team signs for the long term. And I do want to add something with Gary Payton, by the way, Gary Payton II. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. The Warriors had the foresight to sign him last year early enough to own what's called his early bird rights. So what that means is that this offseason, the Warriors have a few avenues for re-signing him. They can obviously offer him a veteran minimum and then kiss his ass goodbye because he is not going to stick around for the vet min. There's going to be teams out there offering him decent money. You could offer him the mid-level exception, which last year ranged slightly above $5 million a year. Again, probably not enough money to retain Gary Payton II. So the only realistic option for the Warriors keeping Gary Payton II is to offer him his early bird rights offer, which is exclusive just to the Warriors, where they can offer him 105% of the average player's salary in the NBA this past season. And doing the math, that comes out to approximately $9 million. And another aspect of the early bird rights that any team has to follow is it has to be a deal ranging from 2 to 4 years guaranteed. So they can't offer him a 1-year deal for approximately $9 million. It has to be a minimum of 2 years and a maximum of 4 years. So realistically, for the Warriors to keep Gary Payton II after this year, because he's going to have a lot of suitors. The great news is Gary Payton II seems happy being with the Warriors. But the absolute most the Warriors can offer Gary Payton II, there's really two options here. They can either give him a 4-year, approximately $36 million deal with $36 million guaranteed, and that can hopefully be enough incentive for Gary Payton II to stay beyond this season. The other option is offer him a 2-year deal at $18 million a season and give him a verbal guarantee that when those 2 years are up, you're going to offer him what he thinks, at least in his mind, he's worth. I don't know if a team out there is going to offer him a contract in the 12, 14, $15 million a year range. And I especially don't know if a team's going to offer him that amount of money over a long-term avenue, meaning that the big dollars would likely be over a 1 or 2 year situation. So if the Warriors want Gary Payton II, they're going to have to open up that checkbook and offer the most they can, which is going to be a 4-year, approximately $36 million deal. And let's hope he comes back, folks, because I cannot emphasize, I've been saying all year on this program, that his importance is such a vitally important component for this team's overall success. He's 28 years old. So he's not exactly a spring chicken, but he's not old either. And he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear from NBA minutes. So the mileage is still relatively low, even if he is going to be 29 next year. And Gary Payton II, going back to his plus minus in the series, he's at plus 29. Klay Thompson at plus 20, Jordan Poole at plus 17, Bielitsa at plus 5, and Kevon Looney, the only player in the negative, at minus 7. And this really has not been a series for Looney. Every time he's out there, Jokic is just eating him up alive. He's consistently in foul trouble. But at the same time, they haven't really needed him that much. So they've been very fortunate that a lot of their other inside players have been playing as strong as they have. I have 2 sound bites to wrap this show up with today. The first comes from Draymond Green. This was in the post-game press conference. Or not press conference, I'm sorry. This was in the post-game interview with Bob Fitzgerald and Kalena Azubuike, where they had Draymond Green. They had a chance to interview him. And he said some really interesting, funny things. The team was in a celebratory mood. And what really made me laugh and enjoy this particularly is the fact that he was talking about Jokic attacking him near the end of the game. So here is Draymond Green.
Hey, take us through. You get your 5th foul with 3 minutes left. You play Jokic down the stretch, and you don't foul out, and you make the steal of the night. What's your mindset those final 3 minutes?
I was terrible all night, recovering out of the pick and roll. I went for several ball fakes. Coach Kerr got at me that last time out. I just knew I had to stay down. I had to make him go through me. I think the whole series, first couple games, I was making him go through me. Tonight, I gave him a lot of angles. But when the money on the line,
there you go.
I don't like when people go at me for all the marbles. I hate that.
What kind
Oh, man, he is such a phenomenal human being, and he's hilarious, and he's one of the greatest defenders in the history of this game. Maybe during the offseason, we'll have a debate, have a fun show about who the all-time greatest defenders are, because Dennis Rodman is clearly in the mix there. People have mentioned Gary Payton II. I've heard Michael Jordan for obvious reasons. I mean, there's some wild cards like the Bruce Bowen types. Dikembe Mutombo was actually a fantastic defender, although he mostly defended bigs. I really do believe that Draymond Green is certainly already like top 3. I don't think you can dispute that in terms of the all-time greats. I just don't know off the top of my head if he's surpassed Dennis Rodman. Those two are it's going to be neck and neck. I think when we look back on Draymond's career, in terms of the all-time greatest defenders, it's going to be either between Draymond Green or Dennis Rodman, and that's just how great of a player, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, that Draymond Green is. The other soundbite I wanted to play for you was Jordan Poole in his post-game interview, and this just really highlighted the team chemistry that this group has. He was being interviewed by Jared Greenberg. Jared Greenberg, by the way, who's a sideline reporter, a courtside reporter, I'm sorry, for a TNT, for the NBA on TNT broadcast. He brought up a very interesting stat. I tweeted this. You can follow me on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. In regards to Andre Iguodala, Iguodala had a fantastic game, and his impact is still being felt phenomenally, even at his age of 38. He missed most of the regular season. He showed up for game 1 and was fantastic, but then he was out for game 2, and we really did not get much information about that. And it turns out that Iguodala, the neck sprain that caused him to miss game 2 was so severe. He was having neck spasms, and this was Jared Greenberg reporting this, that the spasms prevented Iggy from being able to even turn his neck. It was just completely stiff. He was full of pain, and Iggy apparently went to a acupuncturist in the San Francisco Bay Area who healed him. And you saw at the end of game 3 that monster dunk that was more reminiscent of 28-year-old Andre Iguodala as opposed to the 38-year-old version we see now. And then after the game, Greenberg was interviewing Jordan Poole, and this was hilarious. Enjoy.
These guys have given me that confidence, just to know what it's like to be in a pool party. It's a pool party. That's what I'm talking about. We got these guys who push us every single day. They push me every single day, everybody on our team. And, they want us to rise to the occasion, and being able to have Steph, Klay, Draymond, Andre, guys who've been here before, they know how important it is to come down the stretch and just being able to get these guys confidence.
That was hilarious. It is a pool party. We all want an invite. We all want to rage. We all want that ticket to the pool party. Looks like the funnest pool party ever. But that was Klay Thompson jumping up behind him, and that just shows that the chemistry of this team is sound. These folks seem to like each other. If you're a member of Dub Nation right now, you have earned exuberance, because this 3-0 lead is not a coincidence. It is not a fluke. This Warriors team is your favorite to win the world championship. People have accused me of being a homer on this show. People have accused me of putting my fandom above in front of objectivity. To those, I say, yeah, what do you think now? I know this team. I know basketball. You just championship pedigree, dynasty pedigree does not just fade away after 2+ years. These are championship level players. These are folks that have gone through the wars of the postseason time and time again and have shown they can thrive in it. And I don't see any reason why that's going to stop now just because the big three are suddenly in their 30s and haven't been in the playoffs in 2 years. This is a team built for success. And even the odds makers, including our longtime sponsor, BetOnline, is calling them the odds-on favorite to win the world championship. So have a great weekend, Dub Nation. You've earned it. Celebrate. Game 4 is Sunday, where the Warriors look to close the series out. And hopefully I'll have some more great guests for you next week. Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA, from the first jump ball of the play-in tournament to the last possession of the finals. Locked On experts take you deep inside the playoffs with insight and analysis affecting all 30 teams. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. You can follow this program on Twitter at Locked On Dubs, where we post schedules of upcoming guests, and I'm obviously tweeting out all sorts of fantastic Warriors content. So follow me there for all sorts of goodness when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. They're up 3-0, folks. and they're going to look to sweep the series this Sunday. We'll join you again next week. And also, by the way, just want to add, I joined Larry Krueger after every game on the Krug Show. It's a live broadcast available on YouTube. So if you want to just continue, with the action right after the game and don't want to wait till the next morning or next afternoon when we air these shows, follow my buddy Larry. Again, his YouTube show is called The Krug Show, Krueg, and I join him for after every playoff game, and it's fun. So thank you, folks. I'll see you next week. Later.